You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall, number one Millwall podcast, blah 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 blah. My name is Nick Hart. You join me, obviously, in the wake of that diabolical 3-0 loss yesterday at home to Swansea City. Now, I didn't get a chance to get over to the Den yesterday. I count myself lucky for not making it, for various reasons, for medial reasons. Couldn't get across to go and watch the match yesterday. I watched it on stream, and I must admit it is a depressing situation at the Den. Now we're going to go to some live coverage supplied to me by a friend of the show, Ben Anthony. Going to go to that very shortly. But first, of course, this show has a partnership with punditgames.co.uk, the number one quiz show. And as ever, we try and lighten the mood a little bit by reading out a question with the answer at the end of the show before we launch into the misery. This is a question, and it was a World Cup question. I thought we'd try and raise our tone somewhat for you, dear listeners. This is one for a World Cup. This is one of football's most bizarre moments, it says. Luis Suarez turned into Iker Casillas in the 2010 World Cup quarter-final, literally saving Uruguay and taking the match to extra time and penalties. This striker, known as El Loco, took the decisive spot kick, scoring an audacious Panenka penalty. He played for a ludicrous 31 clubs in 11 different countries throughout his career. Uruguayan striker, playing alongside Edison Cavani, Diego Forlan, Luis Suarez, 2010 World Cup. I don't know the answer to this question. It's got to be honest with you, dear listeners, but the answer will come at the end of today's Misery Show, Misery Fest. This will be the first of two editions of Achtung Millwall. Today's edition will be followed by my reaction to the many various voicemails sent to me over the course of the weekend. But so anyway, back over now to Ben Anthony, who was at the Den yesterday afternoon.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hello everybody, it's Ben Anthony here, recording for Achtung Millwall, stepping in for Nick Hart, who can't be here at the Den this afternoon for the match against Swansea. Half decent turnout today, the crowd getting behind the team, hopefully, so yeah, should be a good game. Not the best record over the last 5 seasons. I've seen Millwall only won 2 in the last 10 games. But this fixture last season did result in a 2-1 win for the Lions. So hopefully we can get a result again today. The starting lineup, Bart in the goal. And then the usual back three of Leonard, Cooper, Murray Wallace. Longman's on the left, Norton Cuffey on the right. You've got Denor and you've got Campbell in the middle, just behind Fleming. And then you've got Nisbet and Watmore up front. I'll check in, let you know how the game's getting on. Come you Lions. Well, listeners, it's looking like a penalty for Swansea. Cooper appeared to pull the shirt of the striker and pull him to the ground. It didn't look like the referee was going to give it. I think the linesman has given the decision. So it is going to be a penalty for Swansea. We're just approaching the 22nd minute. And the first major chance of the game, really. Millwall have had the better of the game, probably. Not popular in the crowd. But there we go. Here we go. Let's hope for a save. Come on, Bart. And he scored. Bart went the wrong way. So it's 1-0 to Swansea, probably against the run of play. I think it probably, on balance, is a fair decision. Half time at the Den, and it's Millwall 0, Swansea 1. Swansea picked it up after their penalty. I think it was a penalty. As you can hear from the crowd, that stalls the referee. And Millwall have not had the rub of the green. A series of 50-50 chances have gone against the Lions. to the point that in about 44 minutes, I think, there was finally a free kick given to Millwall on the halfway line, and that was the biggest of ironic cheers that you'll hear from the Den. It's been a relatively even game, actually, I'd say. There's been a few chances either side. Jamal Lowe is causing some real problems for our back line, running down their left. Leonard and Norton Cuffey have done enough. Seem to be teaming up against him and have done enough to keep him at bay generally. I think they're playing quite well. I think Campbell's playing really well in the middle for us. In terms of Millwall chances, Nisbet has had a couple chances to have a shot. Unfortunately, he seems to have forgotten his boots today, so his shots have ended up nearer the corner flag than they have the goal. So yeah, nothing major to talk about. The only real chance of the game being the penalty. Like I say, it looked like a fair decision given by the linesman, I think. I don't think the referee could see it. It was a bit of a delay. So yeah, we've got to hope for a bit better second half, shooting towards our own fans, and come out with a bit of belief. And hopefully we can get ourselves back into this game and maybe turn it around for a win. Bart's doing well in goal. An absolute cracking save about half an hour in to stop them from going 2-0 up. Let's hope for better in the second half. Come you Lions. A little bit of Twitter commentary for you during half-time here. Joe Chats is saying it was a dreadful display all round from Millwall. Laziness from Cooper. Watmore not staying on his feet. And Murray Wallace seemingly operating on one leg. He asked a valid question, I think. How bad must Wes Harding look in training not to get an appearance? A few suggestions that Jamal Lowe is kind of dominating proceedings here, which is true. I would agree with that. Some criticism of Rowett going on. Some, attempts at positivity. Someone saying that we played well up until their goal. Honest Millwall, the goal killed us, but it was a stupid one to give away. Played well up until that point. Campbell and Denor passing forwards. Watmore seems to have burnt himself out. He wants to get Marku on the pitch. Sounds like Nisbet's getting more and more frustrated in the game. Quite a few frustrated and irritated comments. One from AchtungMillwall, never heard of it, saying that this game is mediocre. Millwall seem to be bereft of ideas. It was a stupid shirt tug from Cooper to give the penalty away, and they've looked comfortable since. And making a valid point that we've barely troubled the keeper since. Millwall TT says that the positives of the first half is that it ended, and that is about it. And finally, spare a thought for Anthony Carroll, who has said that he spent an absolute fortune for his in-flight Wi-Fi and the international pass in order to watch this game. He asked the question, why on earth do I do this? I think I've seen worse performances, but there's not a lot to get hugely excited about yet. Anyway, I'll check in if and when we score some goals in the second half. 2 subs at half time for you listeners. Looks like S.A. and Brian coming on. He's made a change. I think he's gone to a back 4. So Brian on for Longman at left back, and then Norton Cuffey has taken off with Romain S.A. brought on in kind of a right winger's position. Looks like Leonard's going to play right back. We've gone for a back 4 for the second half. It's just kicked off. As Nick would say, shooting towards the cold blow lane end in the second half, as per the old Venerable Bede's instruction. Trying to build up a bit of an attack. Nothing sort of coming off quite yet, but early moments in the second half. Like I say, I'll check in if anything happens. Oh dear, everyone. It's 2-0 to Swansea. We're on about 57 minutes, and it was sort of a bit of it didn't look like a particularly great shot from the outside of the box. And it looked to me like it should have been a fairly easy save for Bart, but he somehow managed to miss it. It's gone in the back of the net. It looks like a goalkeeper error to me. And yeah, now we've suddenly got an awful lot of work to do to try and get anything out of this game. Millwall had been playing a bit better in the second half. A couple of chances, sort of certainly build-up play, a little bit of an improvement. But yeah, a lot to do now. Bit of a break in play while a Swansea player receives treatment for what appears to be a gunshot. We're approaching 67 minutes. It has been pretty much all Millwall attack for the last sort of 5-10 minutes since Swansea's second goal, really. And there's been one or two moments. I think SA should have been given a penalty, to be fair. It looked like he was fouled, and I think the referees missed that one. That's a pretty poor decision, in my opinion. And then Watmore, a couple of minutes later, was pretty much on the edge of the 6-yard box, right in front of the goal. And his shot just managed to hit the keeper, straight at the keeper. To be fair to Watmore, I think he's the only one that's busting a nut to try and get hold of the ball. He's putting the effort in. The others just don't look all that bothered. They look a bit frustrated or fed up, or they just don't look into it at all. The crowd are getting annoyed. There was a couple of chances towards Gary Rowett a few minutes ago. So I think he could desperately do with a goal, and I think the players need a goal just to get a bit of momentum going. Anyway, 68 minutes, play's just about to resume, and we'll see what happens. And the exodus from the den has begun. 79 minutes, Swansea have gone 3-0 up. It's not been good. Millwall just don't have anything up front. We just got no real ability in attack, and therefore, as soon as you go 1-0 down, we're in trouble. It was just an easy attack. There was no challenge for Swansea in that attack, and it was an easy goal. And yeah, so now we're 3-0 down. And yeah, there's just no ideas from the Millwall side. I think that's it. Game over. We look a little bit broken, and the fans look really fed up with it. Yeah, not been good. We're into the last of 8 minutes added on of this shit. We're just hoping that the referee will blow up any moment, put us all out of our misery. The ground's pretty empty, so it won't take long to get home. Absolutely nothing offered in this second half, really. Particularly since their second goal, I think we've tried to get something, but for about 5 minutes, and then it ended. Yeah, pretty terrible performance, pretty terrible all round. Having to watch more shit football over and over again. Anyway, that'll do. Finishes Millwall 0, Swansea 3, and another loss at the Den.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge welcome on the show now to show regular Mr. Graham Payne. How you doing, Graham?
Not too good after that, Nick.
Graham and I, dear listeners, we both watched streams today for different reasons. And I must admit, I'm kind of torn between feeling slightly guilty for not going, but feeling really pleased I didn't go there today. Graham, that was dire. I've been trying to not overcook my words online because it is the immediate aftermath of a 3-0 loss to Swansea. But that was diabolical. personally draw a contrast between the Leeds result, mate, which was, a poor loss, but up against a different calibre of side, to Swansea. Swansea came into today in 21st position with an injury crisis, and we looked, well, I don't even know about second best. If there had been, we were awful today. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, it's just a continuation of the home form under Rowett, isn't it? They've won one game all season.
Yeah.
They, as you say, I think they were in the bottom three, and yet they strolled into our place today like they were top of the league. It was absolutely diabolical. As soon as they got the first goal, I felt that's it. The game's over because we can't score a goal. And
we can't finish for toffee. What chances we did create, and there were one or two, especially early in the game, where you had half a chance perhaps, but we looked so off of it, Graham. I mean, we could play for a month of Sundays. You hit the nail on the head. This is Gary Rowett's form this season. I think it's relegation form at the moment. I don't like to overreact because obviously in the realm of social media, everyone overreacts to stuff. But I just thought that looked like a no-hope performance because the players' heads drop. One goal behind, which was a silly penalty to give away. It was a clear tug. I don't think anyone can really argue with the decision. Why referee took a moment or two to give it, I don't know. But it was a clear shirt pull. I don't think you can argue with the penalty. And that was pretty much game over there, Graham, from that point onwards.
As I said, once they got the first goal, I thought, well, you go in, you think, second half he'll change it. All right, he brought Essay on, and he brought
Marku, yeah.
But he brought someone else on at half time because he took Norton Cuffy and Longman off, didn't he?
Yeah, he brought Essay on for Norton Cuffy, Joe Bryan for Ryan Longman.
Joe Bryan.
I thought the quality of our crossing improved a touch. It was marginal, really. It wasn't that much difference, but that did improve. But no, I mean, this failure to ignite the Den is going to be. And I wanted to ask you, to be honest with you, because obviously the social media is alive and running tonight with Gary Rowett's Rowett out. Whether we'll see that this week. We've got another game at Plymouth on Tuesday night, and then another home fixture against Hull City, which neither of those two games look easy given the current, dire state of affairs. But I wanted to ask you, Graham, where do you stand? I've been driven to say get Rowett out. I don't like to say it. It's been a long time coming for me, but it was so bereft today of any ideas and any imagination. I can't see how it's going to change under his management.
No, I mean, I'm with you. It's Rowett out for me now. I've held off, but no. And this home form, this has been going on all this year from January. It's been terrible. And, to lose, you've lost 4-0, 2 3-0s. That's as you said earlier. I don't like jumping in, but it is relegation form.
Well, it is.
3 home games already. And how many games we had?
We played 9 overall, so I think home fit, if you include the League Cup game, which was a 4-0 drubbing by an under 21 side. Okay, in a competition that no one's really bothered about, but that's not really the point. But otherwise, we're taking real smacks on the nose here. I mean, the Leeds 3-0, but that was a drubbing. That was a decisive beating we took then. Today was a decisive beating. The difference being for me, Graham, that Swansea were okay in certain areas. They got the ball and passed it around, but they look quite fragile in defence, and we have nothing to pressure them, to open them up. We don't have the knowledge, the ability, the whatever. I don't know what you want to put it, but we don't have any ability to open up a defence, and they were there for the taking, despite the 3-0 scoreline as it finished.
Well, I mean, they're 21st in the league. They've won one game all season.
Yeah,
and they've come. We treat them like they were top of the league, and it was
like Real Madrid have taken the field.
It was, wasn't it? I mean, they were knocking the ball about, and we were just chasing shadows. And you think, hang on, this team are not top of the league; they're 21st in the league.
Yeah, and also it was a makeshift starting 11. I was reading their injury crisis. We moan a lot about our injury crisis. They've also got players out, so this was not a first choice starting 11. It was Whether you'd call it makeshift or not, I don't know, because they look pretty comfortable. But how much of that is Millwall giving them time and space to pass the ball around and look like they're out for a Sunday afternoon stroll, and how much is them being that good? I don't know. Clearly, the league table doesn't lie, and they were 21st coming into this game. I thought it was dire. I keep coming back to that word, and as I've said today, and so I say to you, dear listeners, I don't like calling for people's jobs, but I don't know where we're going to go with this, because I just can't see. I can't see how Gary Rowett can enliven this squad of players. They don't seem to believe in him anymore, Graham.
No, especially at home games. It's just completely and utterly gone there, isn't it? I mean, and he's got. What is his problem? Why would he not pick George Saville? And why has he never given Harding a proper chance? He came on at Birmingham and it looks all right to me. Since then, he's not been given a chance. And yet, and Saville's he's obviously fell out with Saville because he don't get a look in now, does he? He's up, this Campbell, jury's out on him big time, I think.
Yeah, I don't really see what we've gained with Alan Campbell. He looked a little bit better at points today. I wouldn't overstate that, listeners, but I think you're right. I mean, whether there's personal disputes, I mean, that's kind of the lifeblood of football clubs everywhere to some extent, Graham. I mean, every football club, every player worth his salt thinks he should be playing, and is unhappy when he's not been chosen. But I don't get the logic as to why we're not playing Jules Stead, one of our best players. Has been a performer for us for some years, ever since he's been with us. I don't get that. And we're also playing Nisbet up front, and I don't think he looked on it today. I thought, he had a couple of chances in front of goal. Didn't look particularly sharp and didn't look on the ball for me today. And, as we've, has been posted online, he was carrying a knock. And I wonder whether we've rushed him back slightly early rather than play the talent that we keep talking about, the Amarkus and the Essays. I think these kinds of decisions are what will do for Gary Rowett, because the results are starting to do the talking for him at the moment.
I think the players have just had enough of it, to be honest. I mean, they're definitely not performing for him. And
no, they don't.
It's obvious to see. I mean, Nisbet, he looks all right. As you say, maybe he was carrying a knock, but he looks cheesed off to me. He doesn't look like he's what he signed up for, and what he's getting are two different things, obviously.
Well, we missed Tom Bradshaw today, but he's a very unique player in his workload rate and the industry, and there aren't many Tom Bradshaws around. So, but I think if we're going to try and use Nisbet as a Tom Bradshaw, then that's a mistake, because Nisbet is, when he's on form and when he's fit, because I don't think he was fit today, personally. He didn't look it. Some of the shots, and we had opportunities at times through the game, but it just didn't look like the sharp finisher that we've kind of seen so far since he's come down from Scotland. But yeah, it's the whole. I can't really pick out. I don't know about a man in a match. The very phrase seems to be illogical in the wake of a 3-0 drubbing by the 21st place team in the division. I mean, to look for some bright sparks, Ryan Leonard would always give you 100%. I think I would say that about him today. The Bart looks rusty. The second goal that's the one that went underneath him, wasn't it, from the shot from distance? That was poor. You can't really hide from that kind of error. And in goal, your errors, create goals, don't they?
I mean, you go on, obviously, the goalkeeper he brought in was injury prone. He's picked up an injury.
Yeah.
And, the squad, I know, with the forward, I know we tried to get Kiefer Moore, we didn't get him. So now Bradshaw's injured, so he's had to bring Nesbitt back because he won't give Amarku a run up front. Maybe, I don't know. The squad suddenly, I don't know. I don't think people, a lot of people say, it's a strong squad. I'm not so sure. Maybe we'll see if Rowett goes and someone else comes in. But
I think it's a confusion as to the style. I mean, the defence we've got, which is at the moment, is Jake Cooper, Murray Wallace, who was apparently spent the week not being, available, and suddenly was, and Ryan Leonard, who is a makeshift defender. He was always a midfielder rather than a defender. I mean, there are limits to what you can ask those players to do. I mean, dear old Jake, gave away a very stupid penalty today, tugging on the shirt when the man's through on goal in the penalty area in front of the referee. I mean, so I don't know what goes through players' heads sometimes. It must be an instinctive reaction just to grab hold of him by any means necessary. But that was a clear-cut penalty, and it was an unforced error, in my opinion. Same with the second goal, unforced error. The third goal late was a decent move, actually, but they had many in space inside the box, close-range header, and that was that. Boos all around the den. I don't know if you could hear it, Graham, on your stream. It could certainly come over loud and clear on the Mill TV stream that I was watching.
Yeah, I was probably watching the same stream as you, mate. But yeah, and the ground was empty at the end anyway. But I don't know. As I think, I think people, someone was saying, like, if that had been Holloway or Lomas, people would have been far. But they've just completely given up with it all. It's just so. He's just killed the whole thing down there with the crowd and everything. And people now, I think he has. I'm so he's got to go. I think it's best all round now.
I believe so. Yeah,
He's run his course, and maybe he should have gone in. I've said it again before on the pod. Maybe he should have gone in the summer. That Blackburn game, maybe that was his, tipping point. And
it was both his high point and his low point, all in one 90-minute spell, wasn't it? The first half and then the second half. Yeah. It seems to me like that game watch actually is quite symbolic, because it was kind of. He seems to have a cap. I think we've said this a few times on these shows, like a glass ceiling or whatever way you want to put it. I think he can go so far as a manager, but I don't think he's top table management material. No disrespect to him either, because he does a job that I couldn't do. But I'd say the same with Neil Harris. I think managers have their levels, and you can see how well Neil Harris is doing in League Two. But he reached an end point in the Championship. It's a very tough league, Graham. You're playing against some decent sides with money. And I just think that maybe a few times since Gary Rowett came to us, which was in 2019, he's kind of dug his way out of trouble. There was I remember mentioning it loads of times, going up to Peterborough and the crowd are singing, your football is shit, Gary Rowett. At Peterborough, it was a couple of years ago now, pre-COVID, I think it was. But he seems to have a knack to get himself out of the hole. But I don't know that ability to the escapology, like Harry Houdini. In the end, there's always a trick that beats Harry Houdini, isn't there? I don't see him getting out of this particular locked safe this time. Unfortunately, I think he's reached the end of the line for me.
And that they were singing that today. The Gary Rowett, your football was shit. I don't know if you heard it on the stream, but.
Okay, it came over. Yeah, it came over. I think people run out of things to say, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it was shit today. Relegation form, as we've said already. And if we don't drop him soon, we've got, we are in for a relegation fight. I just don't see. I don't see the spark across the side. I don't see the Millwall fire anywhere, Graham. I think that's the thing. That's the thing I really miss, because. I wasn't overly fussed about not going today, listeners. I watched it on stream. Even then, I thought, I don't know why I'm watching this. I might as well go downstairs and, watch whatever the wife's watching, which was like Bake Off or something, And that's it's a destructive thing, because for me, the only reason we all follow Millwall is because you look for the drama and you look for the big moments and the big days. And I just don't see that we have that kind of squad. Well, that's only that kind of manager at the moment. We need something more. It remains to be seen, obviously, how this works out. But no, I think he's reached the end of the line for me, mate. And sad to say it, but I think it's true.
I totally agree with you, Nick. As I said, I think he has reached the end of the line. It can't carry on. It's just dire. Isn't it?
No,
you've said it. You weren't bothered about missing today's game.
No, I know.
And that sums it all up. Someone like yourself who's, gone for years and years, and you go over to Millwall, you're not expecting to see the best team in the world, but you want a team that fights and plays for the badge, and they're not doing that. They're not doing
I
that.
would be happy. I mean, personally, other people might have a different viewpoint on it. I don't really seek success at Millwall. We've never been a successful club. I kind of want to be, largely speaking, I want to watch a team that wins most of their home games reasonably, with a bit of pizzazz, a reasonable brand of attacking football. Away from home, well, we'll see what we get. You win, you lose. But largely speaking, Graham, I don't know if you'd agree with this. If you could give me a Millwall where we win as many as we lose, and we finish up in mid-table, but the home games are normally fairly exciting affairs, and you feel like you've been to the Den, I'm probably a happy boy, really. That's kind of all I want. I'm not really this. There's this very modern football thing that you've got to be educated in the ways of the game, and that somehow there's some deeper level, almost a Pep Guardiola kind of let you feel like you're being lectured. The game should be played in a certain way, but the football at Millwall is now so fucking boring that I can't be arsed of it. Can you?
No, you're absolutely right. And, the more and more the Premier League, I'm just turning it off. I don't think I've watched, I think I've watched one game this season because I don't know, it just can't, I just don't like it anymore. So no. You're right. You want to go over Millwall and you want to be entertained. And as you say, if they win as many as they lose, and that'll do me as well. That's.
I mean, away from home, you take your chances. Everyone knows that when we travel northwards, it's probably going to be a late winner for the other side. It's just how it's always been. But I think at the Den, there's an expectation, and I don't think it's unreasonable, that we take the game to the opposition at home. You bring the crowd into it. He doesn't have a clue on how to bring the crowd into the game, and that's been an increasing problem for him certainly this season. And for large chunks of all of his seasons, really, he kind of gets on little runs, doesn't he? Where you start to get the fire in the belly back, and then it all goes flat. He's like a fireman almost putting out a rubbish bin fire somewhere. It looks spectacular for a moment, then it all gets dampened down, and that's that.
Yeah, you get there we are again, and it's flat, isn't it? He can't.
Well, Leeds was a good example. I mean, everyone that's left messages on here and other online, other shows and whatnot, so the same thing, how flat the atmosphere was at a Millwall versus Leeds game. Well, that's not the point of Millwall, to some level, I get that you've got to play winning tactics that hopefully are winning football, but even that's run out on him now. So away game at Plymouth Tuesday night, and then at home next Saturday to Hull City. Big week for him. If he doesn't go today, I think they'll probably keep him in place until after the next couple of results. Knowing Gary Rowett, he'll probably pull off a win or something at Plymouth. But my faith in him is gone. It's even if we win at Plymouth and even if we beat Hull, I don't have any faith in him as a man manager. I don't see it. That's the problem. I imagine that's the same for the squad.
It's to come to a parting of the ways. It's the only way. As you say, he could probably get a win on Tuesday night at Plymouth.
He probably will do.
Then you come Saturday at Hull, it'll be another.
Your football's all right again. There we are. Nice stuff, Graham. Thank you for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it. Saturday, and we're speaking in the immediate aftermath of the game. Very little time to absorb what we've seen, listeners. So hopefully that you'll have enjoyed what we've produced, and we'll be back after that midweek game at Plymouth. So thank you to Graham Payne. Thank you, Graham.
Cheers, Nick.
And thank you to you too, dear listeners, for tuning in. Until the next edition of AchtungMillwall, it's Arrivedeci Millwall. Bye for now.
AchtungMillwall.
The answer to today's question, dear listeners, you thought I'd forgotten, didn't you? I haven't forgotten. The question was, a Uruguayan striker played with Luis Suarez in a quarter-final against Ghana. He took one of the post-match penalties. It was a 1-1 draw. He was known as El Loco and took a decisive spot kick, scoring an audacious Panenka. Played for a ludicrous 31 clubs across 11 different countries. I didn't have a clue who this player was. The answer to today's question, today's pundit.co.uk question, is Sebastian Abreu. Sebastian Abreu played for Uruguay in 2010 in a World Cup quarter-final versus Ghana, 1-1, finished 5-3 on penalties. The decisive kick being taken by one Sebastian Abreu. Do check out punditgames.co.uk. It's an excellent quiz game.